All righty, good evening, everybody. It's, what is it? It's March 16th, 2023. It's 7:34 p.m. This is the new Town of Newbury Zoning Board of Appeals regularly scheduled meeting. I am Eric Spahn, the chair. I have Jack Kelly, who's a member. I have Martha Taylor, who's our town planner. I have Michelle Wheeler, who is an associate member, Mario Carnevale, who's a member, and our administrative assistant, Chrissy Opry, is here tonight. So with that, let's open the meeting, and let's get to the first hearing.
Al Ward, 80 Northern Boulevard. The applicant is requesting a special permit finding for relief from section 97-4D 5C02, upward extension of the Newbury zoning bylaws, and any other permit relief as may be required under the Town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project in order to renovate the existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on the lot with an increase in height on the property located at 80 Northern Boulevard, Plum Island, Newbury, Mass.
The next.
Continued public hearing from February 16, 2023. Receive request for withdrawal of special permit submittal to the ZBA without prejudice from applicant on the project at Northern Boulevard, 80 Northern Boulevard.
So Inspectional Services, Chrissy received a letter from Al Ward on Wednesday, March 1st, 4 p.m. And it was copied to Colleen Hayes, 80 Northern. Hi Chrissy, I hope you're doing well. This is a note to inform you that I would like to withdraw my special permit application with zoning for my proposed renovation at 80 Northern Boulevard. I know we are currently scheduled for the March 16th meeting, so I believe this is enough time for you to set the agenda accordingly. I truly appreciate all your help through this process and wish my situation allowed for further pursuit of this application. Please do let me know if you need any further information or action for this withdrawal. And feel free to contact me with any questions. Most appreciated, Al. So with that, it's pretty straightforward. If he's requesting to withdraw without prejudice, is there a motion to do so?
Make a motion to approve the request for motion for withdrawal without prejudice.
Second?
All righty, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 In favor. All righty, the next one.
Salvatore and Andrea Rosello, 16 Green Street. The applicants are requesting a special permit finding for relief from section 97-10D2C, detached accessory apartments of the Newbury zoning bylaws, and any other permit relief as may be required under the Town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project in order to renovate the existing detached garage on the lot to convert it into an in-law suite apartment on the property located at 16 Green Street, Newbury, Mass. 01951. Continued public hearing from February 16th, 2023, review of draft decision for project.
Okay, so in light of not receiving any additional information submitted, we will close the public hearing portion of the, And then with that, the motion was to draft a decision, and the decision was drafted. It was emailed to us. We had a chance to review it. Martha made some comments. Chrissy received those comments. Those comments found their way into the copy, the new copy that we have in our hand.
Not yet, to be discussed.
Okay. So, so Martha's edits are
In red.
in red. Excellent.
Okay,
Okay,
one for me, Chrissy.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. Yes.
Here.
Oh, package.
we got a whole
Jack.
thing.
Okay,
Here.
sorry.
Oh, you know, well, it's like,
No, I've got one, Larry's.
thank you.
I see my marginal comments didn't actually show up here, so.
I didn't get the PB, I looked in the email and I didn't see your footnotes, so I thought that you wanted to discuss something.
Yeah, no, they weren't, I'm trying to retrieve it.
Okay,
Here.
sorry,
Here.
Martha.
That's okay,
So-
that's okay. I'll try to remember.
As part of as we go forward and we're improving our decisions and documentation of the decisions previously, we didn't have this format, and this is the first accessory apartment under this format. The bylaw is pretty straightforward as to purpose and intent the general requirements, specific requirements for attached, and then detached, and then occupancy procedures. And so with this, it's drafted, you know, there's a format that's different than our other decisions, and so just take a look at that and understand that. Mark, just digging up your comments there.
I'm trying to recreate them. I can't,
Okay.
unfortunately, I can't pull them up on my iPad.
So I had a couple comments if I jump in here. Under procedures, under procedural history, you get into, okay, on November 3rd, the homeowners, da-da-da-da. And then 2 is the board following proper notice. You give the dates, and then the zoning board voted unanimously to grant the special permit request. Is there anything in terms of laying out the procedural histories that the actual granting of, or the motion for the special permit and the granting thereof wouldn't be the last one under procedural histories? Would anybody reading this think that somehow we jumped the gun by having the second? I don't know, just, Martha, your thoughts on?
Oh, you mean number 2 should be number 6?
Number 2 should be number 6, and number
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably.
Number 6 is like, so you're going in order of procedural history. It just, we received it, these are the people that were present to review it. And it's really just moving down that, maybe making number 7 as, after due consideration, and after the public hearing was closed, the zoning board voted unanimously to grant the special permit, or the requested special permit.
Makes sense, yeah, makes sense to me.
Although you've already said in the very first paragraph above procedural history, it says that the zoning board voted to grant the special permit requested, so.
You know, if I'm picking this up and trying to figure out what happened and I'm reading this, it just seems that, I don't know, I'd like to just understand that
History before?
well, the history had an order to it,
Yeah.
and it resulted in something, and then you go into the submitted materials, you go into the general findings, and then you go into the actual decision, and then you go into what's filed. It's a small point, but I think also we're trying to get an understanding of the format and template that we haven't really come across before in the understanding of this particular decision.
I think it's an improvement.
Yeah, I like the, yeah, you know, they met everything too on the pages.
Yeah, and yeah, and so I think you laid it out, and as we went through submitted materials is all there, the general facts. On general facts, one of the line items is determining the required lot size of when the property was formed, and whether it was 40,000 or 60,000 as required for. And so the one thing, like under D, it says the property which is subject of the application is 16 Green Street, Newbury, Mass. As shown on the assessor's map, created on X, because there is that one line item that sets the property size requirements, and the property size requirements is when the lot. So minimum, it's
Well, I think that's really when the structure, if it's a detached structure, if it was existing before 2013, it can be on a 40,000 square lot if after 2013.
so that is, okay, so it is covered. I have other notes here, 97-10D5, if you go to 1, 2, if you go 3 more pages,
Yeah.
it just specifically says detached accessory apartment, all detached accessory apartments shall meet the general requirements set forth in 97-10D3 above and the following, and it listed. So, okay, I'm good with that, never mind.
Can I ask why it's highlighted in the next one, the E, partial
That's-
existing?
That was my comment. So,
So we're waiting for your,
No, the comments were actually on, for some reason they didn't print out. But I can go through those if you like, what my thoughts were on these. But Eric, why don't you finish?
okay, so everywhere there's a highlight. in
There's a
here.
highlight. There
It's
was-
a,
I have-
highlight means Martha.
Yes.
Okay, I got this.
So just above that, there was the parking spaces, and you don't have my notebook with me, but I thought there were 3 in the garage, 2 in the driveway, and 2 in the easement.
Jack corrected me, and there are 8. The other 2 are deeded rights to 2 other spaces adjacent to the property.
And they counted 1 parking space in front of each of the 3 garage bays.
Yes.
So 3 and 3 is 6 and 2 is 8.
So they have the physical space to put the key. Okay.
I wouldn't want to back out of there, but yes, they do.
Okay. So maybe it's 3 in the garage, 3 in the driveway, and 2 per easement agreement.
Okay.
And then the last thing I had for the decision, which I didn't quite read, but I have a little note here, that one of the conditions of the permit shall be that they meet the last section of the last requirements of the certification of occupation per section, blah, blah, blah. In the last section of the bylaw
Yeah? Oh.
is about what is required at occupancy. The notarized letter is actually a condition of the occupancy permit, not a condition of the special permit. There's one last section. And somehow that should get itself into the decision, maybe number 7.
Okay.
It's just stating that it's just pointing out what's already in the bylaw, and as a condition, they have to meet it anyway, but somebody reading this would understand that there are other conditions that they need to meet if they read this.
And what about the comment about the septic? We have to count the dwelling and the,
Hang on a second. Is that a Martha comment?
Yeah.
All right,
that's a Martha
so
comment.
those are all my
Martha,
comments.
okay.
If we'd
All right,
like,
you're on, Mark.
Mark, you want to go next?
If you'd like me to.
Yeah, please.
So under page 3 of 9, under general findings of fact, number E, this was really just a question whether this discuss a little bit what the existing conditions of the property and whether there should be any mention at all that it's accessed via an easement across 14 Green Street. Just as a descriptive.
Yeah, I mean, all interesting points, and the easement does give them parking.
And it's noted later with the addition that you just made.
The proposed, the noted parcel or the applicant's property is accessed via an agreed and easement over the property at
It's 14.
14 Green Street. Yeah, and it protects their rights of the decision of what we understood was going on at the location.
It also makes it more clear because even from the site map we had, it wasn't 100% clear. It wasn't really until, like, at your suggestion, Eric, that we drove down there and looked at it, and, it became obvious that it was a rather tight driveway for access.
The next one, G, just on the 3rd line down, adding S to means, that's just a typo. Next page under F, just slight suggestion of revised language. Only one detached accessory apartment is being proposed for the lot. H, my question here was with regard to how this is being met. I believe that the septic system is being expanded to accommodate the additional 2 bedrooms, and so I thought that should be noted.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember whether that was actually already approved by the Board of Health or if that was in process with them, but
They presented plans showing an upgrade to the system.
Yeah, I don't think it was approved yet, because they were saying, we're not gonna go forward with that if we don't get approved here at zoning.
And I don't think they can park until April 1st because of the weather. So, it was on hold basically.
so it hadn't been perked yet, so I wonder if that should then also be added to the
For
conditions.
approval.
Unless there was,
I did add that to the special
I see
conditions
that,
on the
I see,
website.
yep.
So you just mentioned per the permitted septic system. Okay, you don't have to say that they presented a plan to upgrade the system as part of this?
Yeah, that was my one comment, is should we say what they proposed of how many bedrooms?
Is it important to note the effort they're going through in order to make this happen, or just that they meet the criteria?
If that was submitted information, I would include that.
Is it one of the list of the submitted documents?
I did add it under supplemental information that Doug, when Doug took over the project.
I see here, it's under 2E.
Proposed septic
E,
plan.
yes, 2E.
Right, right.
Okay, so there's a proposed septic plan, and the accessory apartment shall not exceed the capacity of the permitted septic system. And then a condition is added. Let's make that number 6, and let's make mine, push mine to the end as number 7, please.
But under H, I would just suggest, on page 4, I would just suggest, in addition to saying the detached accessory apartment will only have 2 bedrooms, so something like the existing septic system will be expanded to accommodate 2 additional bedrooms.
You're just gonna add a sentence after the first sentence? Is that how you would squeeze that in there?
Either that or to say that instead of saying the detached, you could say the detached accessory apartment will only have 2 bedrooms. The existing septic system is being expanded to accommodate those 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
And then a little farther down, under A, near the bottom of the page, maybe just noting that the structure was built prior to 2013, which is what the key date is for the construction, and same thing under B. And then under C, I was wondering whether it should actually be noted that they are not intending to make any exterior modifications to the existing structure. So that would be actually under C and D. The building scale is not changing.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because otherwise it sounds like it's either going to be
A new structure.
a new structure, yeah,
Right.
or
Or
an
they're
addition, or,
Right,
yeah.
right. And that was the point that he made, that they're not making any exterior changes at all.
Mhm.
So we'd say something like the proposed construction will not alter the existing, the exterior of the existing structure.
Right, or even just simply, there will be no changes to the existing structure, or to the exterior of
To the
the existing.
exterior.
Exterior of the existing structure.
Right.
I think you just gotta say that under C.
And you could really say it under D as well, because the scale's not changing.
So that what, they're adding the deck, right? They're just adding
The deck is there.
Oh, is it?
Well, they're adding an exteriors, are they adding an exterior staircase?
I thought-
Elevator.
Elevator.
But that's
Yeah,
in-
I thought
elevator
the
That's
inside.
exterior stair though was new too, no? Is that right?
Could have sworn it was there.
Yeah, how did they get to that space now?
I think that there probably just be a stair or ladder inside, but I didn't go inside. It was-
So then it would be, there would be no exterior changes except the addition of a stair, if that's the case.
Yeah, I doubt I'm gonna find that one. I think I took one photo. Google Earthing it.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
it's
was
about
trying
do.
to do satellite, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I only took one photo, but I didn't walk around the back, so it was just the garage door. So,
My photos were more focused on the property line.
Mm. The satellite was taken when all the trees were out.
That's not it there, is it? No.
Drawings?
No, is that it? Or is that something else?
Let's see what it says. No, 229 High Street.
Okay, I see.
Those are two.
Two new ones, okay, yeah.
I mean, I guess technically the deck doesn't change the character or the scale, right? So it doesn't really matter for the purpose of these items, I guess.
Right. Although if they're being added, it should probably be noted
Yeah.
as no exterior changes except.
I'm pretty sure that they're there. I'm not gonna bet on it, but, I don't know.
I can email them for clarification.
Well, I mean, it's in the drawings. I mean, I didn't think to bring all the whole drawing package back.
I can go get it.
So that, let's keep going and let's come back to that one.
And then under E, talking about buffers screening against light, sight, and sound, I guess my question here was whether there's anything that you want to put in conditions regarding that. I'm not sure about everything that was discussed.
Just asked them, if they were good neighbors, if they were screening, but the one neighbor that's complaining about the vision and the view has his whole pool pump hidden to his view behind his shed that's totally exposed to these guys, and it looks terrible. And, it's like, and there is plantings along that edge with some big trees. I would think it works both ways for privacy, that they probably would want to plant something as well. That house happens to have their pool much farther back, and there's a very old, very neat, it's like a cedar garden that you now walk underneath the trees, but at one time was probably a beautiful little enclosed cedar square with another shed that then becomes the pool house. So there is a fair amount of buffer there.
Plus, it's hard to buffer from the second floor, you know what I mean? It's not like you're on ground level.
Well, they both have pools, they both use their exterior. If they had an issue, I think, with noise at the moment, that they would would have somehow come to light.
Do you want to lose the second part where it says abutting properties will be protected? Does that put you on the hook for something you can't guarantee?
I'm just looking at the listing from when it sold a little while ago. There was no back deck, and there are a lot of trees over, blocking the neighbor. You can scroll through and get more views. There's one where you can see the front of the garage with all trees on the
This
side.
garage,
Over here.
this one, there's a set of steps going up there. Okay, so let's add the construction of exterior steps to access.
Yeah, steps and depth.
Jack, I kind of like your comment about you maybe getting ready about the abutting properties will be protected as it denotes that they have to do something or.
Overly broad, perhaps?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So they're actually not doing anything,
Right.
right? We didn't, so is it the abutting properties are already protected from the proposed use on the site with, existing
by provisions
buffers and
of
screening?
existing adequate buffers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Like really, we're just talking about one property, right?
Yeah.
Because this is sort of implying we're,
Well, and the bylaw doesn't say that you'll put up a fence, the bylaw doesn't say that you'll screen it out from total view. It's saying adequate buffers, so I think, upon review of the site plan and an inspection of the property, an existing vegetated buffer exists.
and is adequate.
And, well, I don't know if to say it's adequate, I'm just gonna say it exists.
Yeah.
I like
And is
that.
to be maintained, or just nothing, right? Just let it go, right?
Yeah,
I didn't-
I think on others that are more exposed, and in the past, most of these have been on properties where this never came up or it was even an issue to even discuss. Just saying. Okay, so do you have an edit there?
I do?
Lastly, on this page, J, this is incredibly minor, but in terms of being accurate, it says a written comment was received from a prior neighbor of the applicants for over 10 years, the DeRochemonts, expressing their favorable opinion. Weren't those people here? I seem to remember the guy standing up and saying they were relatives and, excuse me, not relatives,
They
neighbors.
were here, former neighbors, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be accurate.
Received a letter
They may also have sent a letter, I'm not sure, but I know they were here.
and,
Oh, okay.
and spoke at the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, they were in person.
Now, we say that, we talk about all the abutters that spoke in opposition. I have all their names and addresses. Do you want me to list them? We have in previous decisions.
We have or have not?
We have
Yeah, I think for the record,
Okay.
they want to be known that they spoke.
opposed. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if we're gonna mention the old neighbors, we have to mention the people
Current
who
ones.
were opposed to it also, right?
Okay.
It's either like all or nothing.
Yeah, I think you need their names and addresses for
Okay.
each one. You can just make it two separate if it's easier at the hearing. The butters were present to speak in opposition of the project, blah, 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 blah. At the hearing, the butters and they were there really to offer a
Support.
personal reference,
Um,
really. Did anybody speak in favor that wasn't?
Just the parents.
Yeah, the family and,
Oh, so that, you know, that they should be listed as two. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah,
that-
they're there.
So you can, the DeRochemonts and the parents of,
they're right there, I think. They list them by name.
right, I'm just saying break it out in 2 paragraphs, so
Okay,
if
yeah.
it's easier to understand that here's the opposition, here's the favor, and you can read it,
Sure.
see it, and then it's clear.
Great spelling of DeRochemonts, by the way, Chrissy, that's,
Looked that up on Beverly Assessors Database.
Is that good?
yep.
And the last one that I had on the next page, under C3, and I guess these are Doug's words, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, talking about being in keeping with modern architectural techniques and aesthetically pleasing, because again, they're not changing anything. So I don't want to take words out of his mouth, but it didn't make a lot of sense.
Also very vague.
That's a boilerplate Doug statement.
Yeah. It's also very vague to what's aesthetically pleasing and modern architectural techniques.
The Bible, I think, does reference that it should be in the same architectural style as the house.
Styles, yeah, I think that's what they meant.
Right, which was noted previously under the
Yeah.
findings.
One of the abutters was quite convinced that it would reduce her property value, not increase it, so. I'm not sure I agree with that,
But
but,
she bought the house with the easement.
right, that's right.
That was granted. So she, would assume she's forewarned. And she's a realtor, which gives her even greater cause that she didn't understand the easement that she was buying into. Anyway, so what are we gonna do here? The proposed new detached accessory apartment will be in keeping.
Well, if it's Doug's, are we comfortable changing it? Attorney, to change?
Did you get this off the video, or did you take this?
It's an over other decision.
Yeah, it doesn't need
But
to
it
be.
is from one of his presentations.
Yeah, if he didn't actually say it at the meeting and
No.
any of his recaps or something, maybe best to just take it out.
Well, he did say it would be greater tax revenue. I think that was one of the lines.
Yeah, I agree, he did.
It's just, the proposed new detached accessory apartment will improve. And take out the be in keeping with modern architectural techniques and aesthetics, since he didn't actually say that. Okay. We've added 6 and 7 to the decision.
I have a question in that section. Did we want to add that the owner of the property must maintain residence?
Isn't,
That's
Is
in
that
another
somewhere?
section.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Somewhere else.
that's right
In the
up,
bylaw,
that's right up front in
Yeah.
general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Applicant plan on residing in the main dwelling on the property. First, on page 4, first paragraph,
1, 2, 3.
applicant's plan.
Applicants plan on residing in the main dwelling on the property.
But they retain the right to move to the accessory apartment if they wish.
It's true.
Yeah, they can live in one or the other.
So I think that's said,
Okay.
And they have to meet it for the bylaw anyways, right?
Yeah.
yeah. And the number 7 that was added under the decision of conditions states the conditions for occupancy about recording a notary letter of their intent, and also states that if they move, then the decision needs to be re-sought and re-recorded. So that covers a lot by having that as a condition,
Okay.
I think.
My other question is, on the last page, exhibits to be recorded, we mentioned the right-of-way and easement plan, so should I
Yes, I
include it?
think that's a big part of this lot.
I would say the updated floor plan should be included as well.
Okay.
Updated floor plans as filed for the building permit application. Those are the final plans they get.
They are, but they may not be done when this decision is filed. So I'd say it'd be the approved floor plans, whatever was last submitted to you.
Understand? Okay, and then there's a condition, if they change, that will be notified and we'll see them. Okay, Martha, are you, more questions there?
That was it from me.
Thank you for your review. Jack,
Nope, I'm good.
Michelle,
No,
Mario? Chris, you got any comments or questions?
That was all of them.
Okay.
They were all addressed.
Excellent. So with that, is there a motion to accept the decision with the edits made tonight?
So I'll make a motion to accept changes to the draft as discussed.
If Mario is not a
Oh,
voting member on
that's
this, can he make the motion though?
No, I think it should be one of the voting members.
And one of the
I
voting
take
members?
that
You're-
I
you're-
remove the motion.
you're-
I make a motion to accept the edits that we just reviewed from the draft
And approve the draft as amended.
and approve the draft as amended.
I second Michelle's motion.
Excellent. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 3 votes. Excellent. Okay. So I mean, these are, unlike Plum Island where there's some judgment and some interpretation and there's some neighborhood conditions that need to be assessed, this is pretty straightforward. It just checks every single box. And yeah, and other times, I think sometimes we run afoul of just the utilities, I mean, the intent, just, things got started before this process, and so when they were submitting, they were existing conditions of which they were trying to make something, that they were already utilities running to the barn that were direct from the street, not from the house, and trying to just understand why that was in there and explain that. But other than that. All right, Chrissy, so what are we taking away with this here?
Well, I brought signature sheets if you wanted to, I can make the edits tomorrow and
Okay.
email it and.
Can we sign the sheet but reserve the sheet until everyone's at least seen a copy,
Martha,
read the copy?
if they've agreed to accept the changes to the draft decision and then incorporate those changes?
I think it's probably okay, but I think it shouldn't actually be sent to everybody. I would say send it to the chair.
Okay. Yeah, all for signing it, but someone's got to read the drafts one last time before it actually gets stapled together. And then I think we're good with that.
Okay.
So
I'll
that's
incorporate
what
that
we
and
will
get
do.
it to you and,
Okay.
okay.
So just tell us what we have, and then I think we're done with the meeting here.
Okay, so we have 2 new submittals for the April meeting.
Yeah.
They're both for detached apartments.
Yeah.
The Verriers at 177 Middle, and then, I don't know how to say that last name, 229 High Road. Lauken. I did speak to Doug this week, and apparently they've hired Doug DeShanes and Finneran and Nicholson to represent them at 229 High Road, but the Verriers will be representing themselves. So I've given you the package of each. Of course, the special permit form is missing the existing it's not as complete as it normally would be for a Plum Island project, but it seems to be complete. 229 seems to be a little more complete with the site plans. And there's full-size plans right there, if anyone would like them, other than the 11 by 17. So this is enough for everybody.
Okay, does everyone know where Black Duck Drive is?
No.
No, it's,
I do.
if you're driving north and you take a right onto Black Duck Drive, this is the property to the left. Middle Road, I know exactly where it is on the map. It's if you're driving down Middle Road before you stop and it turns into Orchard Street, or you could turn and take Middle Road towards Governor's.
Yeah.
It's like 2 properties up on the right or something like
Yeah, so there's a big pile of logs there.
that. So I would ask if you would email William and Leslie Barrier and ask them that they should submit house plans that have a scale and dimensions on them. That they also submit or provide the documentation that maybe they have or they feel they have in the assessor's in card, but of the existing, they need to show us the existing property or house and the number of units and such like that. This is a location lot, this is a certified plan. And the other application should have not only, should have the existing with the new.
229 does. They have existing. and
Yeah, I'm
proposed.
just looking for that right now. Okay. Yep. Oh, because the existing is part of the new, there's a breezeway. Might ask Peter about the detached but joined. Might come up as it's actually attached and it's not a totally separate structure. It actually touches and shares a common. Probably need to make sure we get an opinion on that. And if
Okay.
he sent it to us because he thinks it's a detached, obviously, but, and if it's existing, so it's not new, so it still has to come before us.
Normally, do we have you stamped? The something at least?
We typically, when they get, if they go through the effort of having somebody draw this up and provide this information, it's stamped. They may be having this to make sure it gets through approvals, and then they'll stamp it for the building permit. We submit drawings all the time up until the point when we have to submit a permit stat.
Yeah. You know, I didn't know if we required them, because in the past, most of our site plans are usually stamped, but maybe we don't require.
I think for these small projects, these guys draft it up and they're one and done.
Yeah,
I'm just
okay.
saying that
That's fine.
sometimes they don't stamp them until they're actually ready for the building permit.
Yeah.
Okay, if anybody sees anything else, just email Chrissy separately, please. And let's give the applicants advance notice to have the applicant as best as possible, application as best as possible. All right, with that, is there anybody else that has any comments or questions for the hearing?
I have everything ready to, I have everything scanned and I'll email you all tonight, the whole files, all the files for those two.
Great, and these are These are hard copies of that?
Hard, large site plan copies.
Anybody?
I like when it's easier for me to read.
Yes, me too.
All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Okay.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is closed.